Greetings to all my viewers out there. This is W.C. Ballard, the nonprofit CEO, step-by-step CEO, and business entrepreneur. And today we're going to take you step-by-step, 10 major steps in starting a nonprofit in 2026. So let's go. The first thing you want to do is you want to define your mission, what actually comes from your motivation. There's something that happened that caused you to want to start a nonprofit. So you want to clearly state your purpose. You want to identify the need in your community for your organization. And then you want to ask several friends, family, or associates to assist you in your journey. You don't want to do it by yourself. You'd be surprised at the input that they can provide. And here's my video if you want to go to that after you finish this video that talks about grant writing for beginners, but it talks about defining and how to create a mission statement, which is used for writing grants. So although it says grant writing, it's very also good for someone who wants to start a nonprofit. Number 2, choose several names for your organization. Don't start with one because you might be disappointed. So give yourself several to start with. Come up with a nice, unique name. And you want to check to make sure it's available. And there are several places you can check. With your state, first of all, their official business registry. They have it. Usually most of them have what's called an entity search. Then you want to check the U.S. Trademark Office and the U.S. Copyright Office before you settle in on a name. Third, you want to recruit your board of directors. And you don't need to recruit a huge board. 3 or 4 people is good enough. Even if you just come up with one person to start with, pick somebody that you think is qualified to help you administrate a nonprofit. But you also want someone who has the compassion for the cause. So you want a combination of both. Most states require that you have at least 3 directors. Some only require you have 1. Check your state. But 3 is still a good number. Even if it says you can have just 1, I suggest that starting with 3 or more, an uneven number. Why? Because voting. If you have even number, you'll come up with a lot of ties when you're voting on certain things. But I suggest starting with 3 is a good number. Now you're going to see why I'm telling you to do these things in order as I progress. You will see, and I will explain. Number 4, hold your first board meeting so that you can have your minutes in writing confirming what you've talked about. You want to elect your officers. You want to at least have a president, a treasurer, and a secretary. You want to decide what type of nonprofit you want to be. 501c3, 4, 5, yes. There you go all the way up to C11, 12, and it goes on. But for this purposes, we're really talking about 501c3s. But you later on might want to decide to be a C4 or a 5. You want to approve the mission and name of your organization, and you want to authorize opening a bank account and approve any initial organizational actions. Why? Because some banks, when you go to open your bank account, want a copy of your minutes showing that the board has approved you to opening that bank account. Let's keep going. And for example, I've given you some of the thumbnails for other of my videos that might help you through this process. As you can see, there's one that shows you the difference between a 3, 4, and 6. You might want to look at that when you're deciding what do you want to be. What is a 501c3 and what the 10 charitable purposes of grant funds are related to that. And are you a 501c expert? I have a little quiz that you can take to see if you've covered things that you need to know as a 501c3 organization. Number 5, you got to create your governing documents, your 2 main documents or your bylaws and your Articles of Incorporation. And included in that, you always want to have a conflict of interest and other key governing policies that I've addressed in other videos. Here's the main video you might want to see how to write a 501c3 Article of Incorporation, and I actually have a downloadable template and sample on my website, which is wcballard.podia.com. Number 6, incorporate your nonprofit with the state. You got to file your Articles of Incorporation with your state's Secretary of State, or in other states there might be another governing office, but usually it's your Secretary of State. Then some people choose to just complete this form as your Articles of Incorporation without creating a separate articles that I train people on. You can actually do both. What we did was we filed with the state, which you have to do. So you have to do the state articles. And then we attached the articles which go into much more detail about governing your organization than the one with the state. That's why we did both. But if you choose just to do the one for the state, that suffices. Then you want to register for the charitable solicitation if it's required by your state. I know here in the state of Nevada, when you apply for a nonprofit, you also have to complete a charitable solicitation form, depending on what type of nonprofit you want to be. Number 7, you need your employer identification number, and you need it's called an EIN number, and you need to wait to do all those 6 steps first before you do that, because there's certain questions that are going to be asked of you to get your EIN number. That's why I'm doing it in a very strategic order, step by step, what you need to do first, then second. And you can go right to irs.gov to apply, and there are some content creators on YouTube who help walk you through that. I might eventually end up creating a video that walks you through this process also. Number 8, open a business bank account. Now you're ready, and you should always have 2 signatories. You can open one with one, but it's going to cause many problems down the road, especially when that one person isn't available or something happens. Now what? How do you manage your financials? So I always suggest that you include 2 signatories on that bank account. You'll be needing both of your representatives there when you go to the bank, and the board secretary is the most important position for this process. Some banks even require that one of the signatories be your board secretary. Also, bring your governing documents with you in your EIN letter, and also bring the minutes to your board meeting. Again, some banks may not require it, but be ready when you go to the bank. Or you can contact the bank ahead of time and find out what items you need to bring with you to open the bank account. Number 9, now you're ready to apply for your federal tax exempt status. You're going to be submitting the IRS application, which is the Form 1023, or if you're a small organization that doesn't expect to make up to $50,000 for the next few years, which we didn't. We started as a small organization. You can do the 1023 easy. And of course, it says if you're eligible, they have that $50,000 requirement as of this writing, but next year or the future years may have a new requirement. So always go and check what the eligibility is for filling the easy, because it's much easier, that's why it's called easy, than that original Form 1023. There's another federal document if you want to be a 50c3-4. You can look it up at irs.gov. And if you are a church, you don't need to complete any of the federal forms. You are considered automatically tax exempt if you meet the definition of a church as defined by the IRS, and you can find that again at irs.gov. And number 10, apply for state tax exempt status and register with local governing agency. Why do I have it at step 10? Because they're going to ask you, the first thing they're going to want to know is, have you been approved for federal tax exemption? So you can't put the cart before the horse, guys. Get everything done in step 1 through 9 before you go to the state for tax exempt status. And then once you do that, you need to also register with any local agencies. But they'll want to know, usually, are you federally tax exempt and are you state tax exempt? And then your registration will usually be very easy with your county and your city organizations. Now you see why I went through these steps very strategically and took you through 1 through 10. Now, additional steps that you want to do, that's just the beginning. And people are probably saying, wow, that's a whole lot. That's why you don't want to do it as one person. You can assign different people to assist you on different tasks. Now, you need to develop what's called a strategic plan with measurable goals. And you also need to develop a business and fundraising plan. And some of you might stop and say, well, wait a minute, we're a nonprofit. As a nonprofit, why do we need a business plan? That's for for-profits. No, you need to have a business plan because a nonprofit is also a business. It's just where the differences in where your money goes makes the difference between whether you're a nonprofit or a for-profit, but you're still operating a business. So you need to acquire your accounting and business software, and you need to determine all the state and federal requirements that keep you in compliance annually. Yes, there are usually annual reports that need to be filed with the state and with the federal government. Depends on whether you are a church or not, though. And you need to keep up with that. And these are the additional tips. And I will have a lot of this in my videos. That's why I'm just taking you quickly through the 10 major steps, because each one of those steps require a little more than what I'm telling you. I'm giving you an overview of the 10 steps. And if you're interested in fast-tracking your grant writing skills, or you're trying to be a nonprofit first before you apply for the grant, which you would have to do, then you want to take my classes. The very first class would be very important, actually, for any nonprofit, because it talks about how to become grant ready. And in that, I explain about steps you need to do to acquire your nonprofit status so you'll be ready to apply for grants. And if you've already acquired your status, you can take my classes. You can also go online and look at some of the free templates I have for you from moving your journey forward, your business forward. And I have certificated classes. You get a certificate, and I take you step by step in writing a grant. And that's the final tip is for finding more nonprofit education and grant opportunities on my website. Subscribe to my channel. I hope you have enjoyed this and that you've been educated and I've started you on your journey. And the last thing I want to say to you is definitely believe in yourself because you are your best advocate. This is W.C. Ballard checking out. See you with the next video.